Okay, abusua bɛ ma kɔ abasonko so ɛde POG Media so. Abusua yɛmbonra ɛyɛ yɛnsɛm mu. Ɛyɛ Ken Ofori Atta after sɛ yɛ declare no fugitive no wanted no. Abusua OSP ɛfa ɛkwan biara so sɛ ɔde no bɛba abɛpie mu ɛwɔ Ghana ha. Na sisi ampo deɛ the last time yɛde brɛ mo Interpol for ɛde no ato ɔmo red alert so asisi ano ɛyɛ Ken Ofori Atta no Nija egu ne chem ye ankasa enye easy kra na you say breaking news e won say eye Ken Ofori Atta ne passport a ode etukwa no sisi abusua OSP ene echese ne nkofo e de omonsa e ba beto sa ne passport no se ne be ya ebe entumi ma ne ntukwa nko ba bia ntino sisi a Ken Ofori Atta ne passport no ye ba be seize a abusua enye asam keto akra na Ken Ofori Atta no Ghana no obeba mpo de se obeba mpo na nka yetumi mpo a handle na nke ye as foforo ba ono onye na adwen se obeba ahase mo mianko na yankonko tie ensema ekoso our political highway ni so madam ase
Of Kenneth Ofori, the former finance minister, being officially listed on Interpol's Red Notice database following a renewed request by the Office of Special Prosecutor. And it comes amidst this ongoing corruption investigation and intensified efforts to bring the former finance minister to justice. There you have it there. Now, the Interpol Red Notice says identity particulars of Ofori Atta Kenneth Nanayao, male, 65 years old, place of birth Accra, Ghana, physical description 1.7 meters, color of hair black, color of eyes black, details, languages spoken English and Chi, and the charge there you see on the Interpol website as published is using public office for profit. Using public office for profit. And before that, the special prosecutor had already published a wanted notice of Ken Ofori Atta on the day that he addressed the press. And even though the letter from Ken Ofori Atta's lawyers indicate, and then his doctors purportedly indicate that he is to undergo this surgical operation at the Mayo Clinic in the United States, the special prosecutor's wanted notice had possible locations of Ken Ofori Atta to be United States, United Kingdom, South Africa, Guyana, Hong Kong, Cayman Islands. These 6 countries. I start off with you, Kwame Jantua, while I welcome Christian Mam Hesse, is a private legal practitioner. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
This was inevitable, some say, Kwame Jantua, based on the chronicle of events as the special prosecutor outlined even before this redeclaration of the...
Alfred, it would be very, very sad to see Ken Ofori Atta being in handcuffs dragged into this country.
Why?
I don't think it is something we want to see. Look, everyone is proven innocent and proven guilty. The offenses that are being charged Ken Ofori Atta are grave offenses. If I were his people, I would advise him, especially when he couldn't make the 25th March surgery. He should have come back and told Ghanaians that I'm ready to come. Right now, if I were in his shoes and I were advising him, I would just say, come. Let's have this thing over and done with. I think the fear on his side, and it is my opinion, is that probably when he comes, his passport will be seized. They will not allow him to travel again because this thing about we're investigating so you can't go anywhere might hang over his head. But if the man is genuinely sick and he comes down and he needs to go back because of health, why would government say, no, you can't go back? I don't think President Mahama is that wicked to say the man is sick and because we are investigating him, he should stay. I think those handling him should be able to advise him to come, get this thing over and done with, and then we see where we go from here. Maybe the other side of the coin, The reason why he doesn't want to come back is that the implications of some of the offenses would also affect others. Typical. Cathedral. Who decided to use what money to dig a hole? Who decided it? Who was part and parcel of it? Will that expose others in that value chain, if I can call it a value chain? I think we should get this thing over and done with. And as I said, a man is innocent until proven guilty. I would not like to see him dragged here in chains and handcuffs. So anybody in the MPP, advise him, oh boy, if you can travel, come down, have this thing over and done with. Because definitely, to even extradite him is going to take time. It's not like tomorrow. It's going to take quite a lengthy situation to have that. I said, if Mohammed don't go to the mountain should go to Mohammed. I believe that the special prosecutor can also decide to go out there and get the facts. Is he sick? Isn't he sick? What is his doctor saying? Let's get the real facts and then see where we go from here. I believe it's important for Ken to show up. Very important for Ken to show up. Because if he shows up, a lot of these things will be able to get some truth to it.
Or the special prosecutor is of the view that his lawyers haven't proven that he is incapable of traveling.
Well, the fact that he even missed that 25th date of surgery shows a question mark. Shows a question mark. Because he was supposed to have come earlier. He said he was going for surgery on the 25th of March. That didn't happen. He didn't come back. And then towards the time, and look, the special prosecutor gave him till June 2nd, right? Towards the time, he came back and gave another excuse. That doesn't show transparency. That doesn't show credibility and integrity. He should even come back when he knew that the operation wasn't going to go on, the surgery wasn't going to go on, and then quickly come down and have this thing over and done with, once and for all. Because at the present moment, all this alert in all these countries that we're talking about does not help anybody. Yes, bra, yen question. You may be a we ya yen tiasi, brabetanasi, Nindia bubu, ni who said we are guilty and also we are guilty. And now wombi and also wombi. Unimbia, one in the womb, ye penocre. Simple.
To it.
I don't know why we are stretching it. Yes, I don't know why we are stretching it.
But why do you think the burden should be
Come
on
and
the
let's
special
engage and say you won't
prosecutor?
come.
The burden should be on the special prosecutor to travel to authenticate whether or not the the former finance minister is indeed sick or otherwise.
In criminal cases,
is it
in
his
criminal
duty to do
cases,
so?
who has the burden of proof? Who is supposed to prove?
But in this, the person who's
It's
accused of-
prosecution.
the
It's
person who's-
prosecution.
It's prosecution.
It's prosecution. And I'm saying that, look, this thing can be done, this thing can be done in a way that both sides will benefit. And I'm saying that, you might not agree with me, but this is the way I see it. And it's my opinion. My opinion could be wrong, but that's the way I see it. I'm saying that we should look at a situation where we can get Kenufriata here. And if others in the MPP can sit with him, even President Akuffo, if he can call his cousin and say, oh boy, the offenses that they are putting on you is grave. Please, if you can, come. Because the OSP wants to do what? He wants to see you face to face. He doesn't want this internet interview. He wants you to come. Come down and let's see how we sort this thing out once and for all. The truth is somewhere in there. The truth. And I'm sure MPP people know, some of them know where the truth is. But we're saying you are the finance minister. Some of these monies were expended by you. You need to answer questions that would help our investigations. Come and let's have this discussion and let's have it over and done with and move forward. If we have the discussion and it shows that yes, there's a case against you, it goes to court. Your lawyers will have to come and defend you, and then we take it from there. $200 million, for the cathedral. Am I right or am I wrong? The big hole.
No, $58 million.
$58 million, 200 million cedis, right?
No, equivalent of 440 million Ghana cedis
That is
at
a
the time.
lot of money that really Minister of Finance should be able to prove how that money went into a deep hole. If for nothing at all, that alone needs questioning. That alone needs investigation. So I will appeal to Kenneth Furiata, if you have the strength to travel, please come down and let's have this thing over and done with. Thank you.
Well,
Panelists, good morning.
thank you very much. Is it a bitter pill worth swallowing based on what I've just showed you and the concerns of the people as well?
Good morning to our viewers and good morning to my fellow panelists. Do we have a debt?
Yes, we do.
All the things you have said, we have a debt, isn't it? How do we pay that debt? If this was your own private business in terms of your family and you owe the debt, would you not sit with your wife and children and say, we've got to sell the car because we have a huge debt to pay? The car that takes you to school, the car that takes us everywhere, unfortunately we have to sell it because we don't have enough funds to be able to pay our debts. For me, as difficult as it is, it's a necessary evil.
It's a necessary evil.
Yes, a necessary evil. Remember, it's not only one political party that has created this debt. This debt runs through this Fourth Republic. And yes, political parties that have come in this latter period have increased that debt. And we cannot continue to sit in debt, especially with a sector like the energy sector. The energy sector is the blood of every economy today. Without the energy sector, there is no country. We experienced doomsday, didn't we? For how many years? In fact, through this Fourth Republic, we've experienced doomsday all through. Some businesses have collapsed because of that. Some people haven't had the chance to even start doing their business. Hospitals, people have died. And so, for me, it's a necessary evil. However, I would have thought certain things would be put in place before, certain explanations would be given before being told of the 1 cedi. Where do we stand today with ESLA? I would have liked the finance minister to go into ESLA in detail as to the mortgaging of it, as to how much money is in there, as to what would be added, what would be subtracted. I expected him to say something about that. I expected him to also look at the nominees of the president.
Why?
Do they buy fuel?
Well,
We say everybody should share, right? It's a sharing, everybody should be
bedding
part
sharing.
and parcel of that sharing to clear this debt. The nominees of the president, do they buy fuel?
well,
How do they get their fuel? Do they buy fuel with their own money or do they buy fuel through what? Coupons. How do we get them on board also? I share we are sharing. Whatever debt it is, we all have to share. So some shouldn't be able to use government, inverted commas, begin and close, to get fuel and not be part of that sharing. Let's be mindful. And the finance minister actually indicated during his presentation that this is predicated on a strong cedi. And we know if it happens that the city depreciates, it affects the 1 cedi. True or false?
true.
So how do we make sure that this 1 cedi, the cedi would always appreciate? How do we make sure? Because that is the responsibility of government.
And if you look at this, the 3 components that influences the pricing, that's relatively one of 2 that is within our control, right? The currency, the exchange rate, and then the taxes and levies. But for the price of crude oil on the world market, we can't do anything about it.
Yes.
As it's trending upwards, as we're saying now. Mr. Jaffa.
Yes, yes. The price of crude on the world market, ex-pump prices, and the rising of the dollar. There are some international factors that we cannot do anything about. How do we cushion that particular situation? Because we don't want a 1 cedi that falls to 80 pesos, that falls to 50 pesos, and then we are struggling to make it up. Apart from that, how long is this particular levy going to stay on the books till? I think it's important that the finance minister makes us know. Is it going to be a levy that is going to be there for like kingdom come, like the COVID levy? Or is it going to be for a certain duration of time? Once we pay the debt and probably have some buffer, Ghanaians stop paying the 1 cedi. I think we need clarification on that. Again, the cash waterfall mechanism is very, very important. The president tells us that this particular 1 cedi is going to cover everything. For me, the first point of call is the cash waterfall mechanism. I believe the cash waterfall mechanism is a good mechanism to pay IPPs, to pay debts. It has to be structured in such a way that we don't go through the challenges that we've been through with the cash waterfall mechanism, especially political influence. It's a good thing to hear when the president says this money is not going to go into the consolidated fund. It's going to go direct, and it has to be targeted directly to the energy sector. The moment it is diverted into anything else, is going to affect us. I expect there to be transparency and accountability on a continuous basis as to how the money is being used, so that Ghanaians are appraised of how we are paying down the debt of the IPPs and generally everything. The one thing that hasn't come into focus a lot is NETCO. The debts at NETCO too are huge. I believe this also covers NETCO. But
the Northern Electricity.
Yes, but I want a situation where there's openness, there's transparency, there is constant advising the general public as to how the debts are being brought down. I think that is very, very important. I'm not sure whether going forward, and I'm sure Roxanne or my good brother here, the former Paul, will be able to tell us, whether in the next tariff window, we are going to see how we now include this particular situation in a tariff, if it's going to be possible. But most of all, you know, one of the major challenges that has caused this particular situation is the fact that we haven't done exploration to production in 8 years. We have stranded gas. The gas that President Atta Mills rightly put to Ghana's use in terms of using it as a feedstock to generate electricity. It's stranded. We need to be able to start offshore production quickly to be able to do what? Get that stranded gas out of the ground. I think it's a good idea that the president is talking about another gas infrastructure. Where that gas infrastructure should be situated, for me, is Accra Basin. Because you see, a lot of our oil and gas is more to the east than the west. The Volta area, the Voltaire Basin, the Keta Basin, not the Voltaire, the Keta Basin, the Accra Basin, the Sopon Basin. A lot of our oil is in there, and a lot of the gas, especially in the Sopon Basin, is there. We cannot start tapping the gas and then pipe it to Ituabo. It will be too costly.
So now we are
Too
flaring
expensive.
gas.
So yes, we are flaring gas. We have no flaring policy, but we are flaring gas. We need to be able to build this new infrastructure so that we can now power our gas through there. Look, with gas, if we did exploration to production in the last 8 years, even if we had 2 more oil fields, one non-associated, one associated, we would have enough fuel to bring this burden down. Very, very important. Most importantly, we need to look at renewables. Where does renewables play in this entire mix? How are we going to handle renewables? For some of us, we should have a policy whereby residential is taking over renewables. We should have a policy where it states every new building in this country should have a solar panel.
Okay, abusuawe we ne ensema ekoso ewo political highway ne so eye ken Ofori Atta ne ho nsem na eguso etwagu asisi a ne passport a yede ode etukwan no aban ene OSP de omonsa atoso a enye izi krobeda mase samoje pene kokoti sa audio we e de MI aha POG Media so beda mase